Hello everyone and welcome to another video for Browser's Developer User Group. Today we are going to talk about pairwise relationship using Pairplot and PairGrid. So for this we have the following script. In advance I imported the libraries that we use in most of the videos. So we have pandas, numpy, support and matplotlib. And then we are going to load the dataset, the admission dataset that we see in previous videos as well. We give some exams scores and the change of admission to a university. So we are going to drop some of the columns that we don't need, and then we are going to check the columns that we are going to use, which is the GRA score, the CGPI, whether the student has done research or not, and the change of admission to that university. Then we are going to use the Pairplot. With the Pairplot, we can see the relationship between all the variables. We can do it with this line of code, sns.pairplot, and it looks like we have an issue here with the head. So let's remove this line. In the next one as well. So with this, we are going to see the relationship between different features. So for example, here we have CGPA with the GRE score. Here we have research with the GRE score. Here we have change of admit with the GRE score. So here in the diagonals, we have the plot with histogram because we use diagonal kind hist. But we can also do the same with KDA, which basically shows this kind of diagonal charts. Here we can see that we have some kind of regression between the channel of chance of admission and the GRE score, and also with the CGPA. So we have some outliers, but most of the data points, they are close to a line. They resemble like a line. So now let's go back to play with some of the parameters. So we are going to use this time research. This will plot in different colors whether the student has done research or not. So here we have the relationship between change of admission and GRE score. And as you can see, the students which have done research, they have higher probability of admissions if you are taking into account the GRE score. And that also applies for CGPA. You can see very clearly the relationship. You can also see the histogram for both in the diagonal. What about if we use the PairGrid? So for this, we are going to use the iris dataset. The iris dataset basically says it's a dataset with the sepal length and width, the petal length and width, and then the species of the flower. Basically. So we are going to use the PairGrid. In this line, basically grid.map, and then in parentheses we use the plt.scatter, and this will show the relationship between all the variables as we saw before, but just with a different dataset. But this is not clear enough. What about if we want to use a subset of the variables? So we can pass the parameter vars, and that's basically it. What about if we want to plot a univariate distribution on the diagonal? So we use grid.mapdiag and grid.mapoffdiag. We use in parameters the plot histogram and the plot scatter chart. And here we have it. So as you can see, in the diagonal we have histograms, and in the other ones we have the relationships between the variables. And this is where things start to make more sense. What about if we color the data points using a category variable species? in the hue parameter. So we have it here. Let's wait for it. And here we go. Now we can see we have three species. Setosa versicolor are Virginica. We can see the relationship between each variable, but now they are colored differently, and that makes more sense. You can see that there is probably a relationship, a linear regression between petal length, sepal length, and the species. The, the colors are very close to each other. What about if we want to use different colors and markers for each categorical level? So we use the hue key WS parameter and we use the OS and D. And you can see that we have different markers for each species and also different colors for each species. And that should make it clearer for you to analyze. And finally, what about if you use different functions on the upper and lower triangles? So what we are doing here, we are using the KD plot with different parameters. So the LW equals to 3, legend equals false, and in the upper we are using the CMAP. So you can see on the upper side of the diagonal we have this, and on the lower side we have the current chart or the chart that we had before. It's a side of this video scope to explain what the charts or what the charts means, let's say it. It's just to explain the Python code. But in upcoming videos, we are going to take a look at how to interpret these charts. So because I know it may be confusing, but don't worry about it. We'll take a look and we are going to learn more about it. I hope you find this video informative. See you in the next one.